Well, news coming in from cricket circles now that there's been a massive boost to women's cricket on the part of the BCCI. There's a big announcement that's been made by the BCCI with regards to the future of women's cricket, where in fact there's been a parity that's been brought in with regards to the pay scales of both male and female cricketers. Jai Shah, the BCCI secretary, has announced the end of discrimination now between the pay scales of men and women cricketers. For test matches, both men and women will be paid 15 lakhs, 6 lakhs for ODIs and 3 lakhs for representation in T20 cricket. Now, this is something that in fact is very much consistent with the norms that have been prescribed by other cricket boards as well. In fact, go across to Karishma for more on this. Karishma, this is quite a significant moment where there is parity that is sought to be brought on the part of the BCCI in terms of pay scales for both men and women cricketers.
Well, it's absolutely. This is a huge moment for women cricketers in India, Siddharth. Equal pay for them. This is a huge moment that has just been announced by the BCCI secretary, Jai Shah, in a statement that he's put out on social media, where he says that this is a first step towards gender equality from the BCCI when they talk about, pay disparity between men and women cricketers, and now that is going to be removed. They're going to be paid equal for all the formats of the game, whether it's a test match, ODI or T20 matches. 15 lakhs, 6 lakhs and 3 lakhs. So this is a huge moment forward for the women cricketers in India. When we talk about pay disparity, we've seen in other countries that slowly and steadily this was happening. A move was made by Indian football as well. But now for the BCCI also to step forward and talk about gender equality for the women cricketers, it is a huge moment, Siddharth.
And Karishma, what's also very encouraging about this piece of news is that this will incentivize the participation of more women as far as cricket is concerned, because for a long time there's been an accusation that women's cricket has been given stepmotherly treatment. That will now end.
Well, yes, absolutely, Siddharth. This is going to be a huge moment, because remember, women's cricket has had its own share of fights, own share of struggles. If we talk about their careers, there was a moment when they weren't even recognized by the BCCI. From there to now, where the Indian team is, the Indian women's team is an amazing achievement for the women's team. And now for the BCCI Secretary Jai Shah to acknowledge all of that and take a step forward, a positive step, and not just Jai Shah but the entire BCCI. Remember, this is a new BCCI that we are talking about, with Roger Binney at the helm of affairs. He's just taken over on the 18th of October, and they are at work from the moment go, with the first big decision being equal pay for both men and women. Test matches 15 lakhs, ODI 6 lakhs and T20 3 lakh rupees. So this is going to be a huge step in the right direction for the women cricketers, because we've seen in the past women athletes talking about how it is difficult to maintain their finances with the sort of money they earn in comparison to the men athletes. So now this is a move from the BCCI to cut all of that, and there should be gender equality, equal pay for both men and women. So a huge step forward. This is the historic decisions that the BCCI has taken today, Siddharth.
And Karishma, this is something that actually is a follow-up to an initial decision taken by the BCCI a few years ago, when central contracts had been introduced for women cricketers. We saw the New Zealand Cricket Board, in fact, bring in pay parity for both men and women in the month of June this year, and now the BCCI appears to have followed suit. What's the reception and the reaction coming in from the women's cricket fraternity in India?
Well, Siddharth, we have been breaking this news the moment it was announced by Jai Shah. The women cricketers also obviously taking all of it in, soaking it in, and we are going to seek reactions from the women cricketers as well. All the current women cricketers, remember, they were there in the Asia Cup as well. They won the Asia Cup. That was also a huge achievement. 7 times Asia Cup champions. So they are today being rewarded for all of that, for taking women's cricket in India forward. Harman Kaur, Smriti Mandhana, who've led from the front. You've obviously had Methali Raj, Jhulan Goswami, whose names are synonymous when we talk about women's cricket in India. So obviously they are going to be overjoyed with this, announcement that has come in from Jay Shah, because this is something that they have been working towards, that they've been talking about, requesting for a long time. But now the dream is finally, turning into a reality with this Jay Shah announcing that there is going to be gender equality and there is going to be equal pay for both men and women.
And also, Karishma, give us an overall perspective, because this is a movement that has been raging in global sport for quite some time. In fact, Venus Williams, dating back to 2005 after the Wimbledon final there, had actually said that pay scales should be on par for both men and women. There should be no discrimination as far as that is concerned. And now what we're seeing, at least in India, is a culmination of that as far as cricket is concerned. Tell us about the kind of momentum that this will also give to other sports where women have actually been campaigning for equal pay for a long time now.
Well, yes, absolutely. This is going to be a precedent that has now been set by the BCCI. But to be fair, this was something that was started by the All India Football Federation President Kalyan Chaubey when he spoke about equal pay for women footballers as well. So this is a step that has been taken by the BCCI, wherein that they have taken
right,
this...
I just have to interrupt you here. We're being joined by a legend of Indian cricket, Methali Raj, joins us on the phone line for her response. Methali, what's your response to the announcement being made by the BCCI bringing in parity for both male and female cricketers as far as pay is concerned? We'll try to get back to Methali Raj in just a short. But Karishma, yes, you were of course giving us a perspective as to how this also began with the Indian Football Federation, where the president of the Football Federation, Mr. Kalyan Chaubey, had mooted the possibility of bringing in equal pay.
Well, yes, absolutely. He had a couple of weeks ago spoken about how they are going to make it, a resolution that there should be equal pay for women footballers. And now the BCCI today announcing that women will also get the same pay as the men cricketers is going to be a huge step forward for all women athletes across the sport, Siddharth, because cricket is the most followed sport in this country and worldwide as well. So now for the women cricketers to get the same pay is going to start a movement wherein every woman athlete will now stand up and say that we also deserve equal pay as our men athletes. So clearly that is going to be the way forward now. Like I said, this is a very historic decision from the BCCI, the secretary announcing it today that gender discrimination comes to an end. There is going to be gender equality and more steps are going to be taken to ensure that gender equality is maintained and discrimination on the basis of gender, whether it's in pay or any other areas, is not there.
And this is something that's actually been discussed in cricket circles in India for a long time. Methali Raj, as far back as 2016, had also said that in a couple of years, she hoped that this would actually happen. I'm joined right now by Methali Raj herself, a legend of the Indian cricket. Methali, thank you so much for speaking to us. What's your response to the BCCI's decision to initiate parity in pay for both male and female cricketers?
I think it's a fantastic news, great news, with the women's IPL also scheduled next year. I think we definitely are getting into a new dawn, a new era for women's cricket. And a huge thank you to Mr. Jay Shah and BCCI for actually doing all this. And as I said in the past around my retirement, that the coming few years are going to be really bright for women's cricket. And really, really very happy and thrilled on this news.
And in fact, Methali, if I could just quote something that you had said almost 6 years ago when the issue of equal pay was actually brought up, you did say that you hoped in a couple of years from then that equal pay for men and women would actually materialize in cricket. What do you think is the message that's now being sent out by the BCCI in terms of encouraging more women to take up the sport?
I think BCCI definitely is very keen to improve women's cricket with the sort of decisions that they have been doing, like, getting women's IPL on the road and, the contract systems, everything, even the Women's Asia Cup. It was it was not so regular in the past with Mr. Jay Shah. I think everything started to roll. I mean, they are so proactive in getting women's cricket, moving. So I think it's great, and I'm sure with this announcement and with the women's IPL next year, with the under-19 World Cups, under-19 tournaments being revived in our domestic circuit, I think there are a lot of young girls who can now foresee a bright future taking up women's cricket as a profession.
And Methali, as somebody who's been so experienced, as someone who's seen Indian women's cricket evolve over a period of more than 2 decades, what are some of the standout observations that you can make about how the game has changed in favor of women's cricket and encouraging more people, and women especially, to watch the women's game and also take it up as a career?
I think once when the team starts to do well, I think from post 2017 World Cup, the way things have to move for women's cricket, the graph is slowly and gradually has been climbing, even with regards to the team's performance, with the new players coming in and the pool of players slowly expanding. I think, yes, I can assure you that there is only growth, and growth which is upward for women's cricket.
We did see the New Zealand Cricket Board in the month of June actually bring in equal pay for both men and women. Do you see this replicating itself across different cricket boards in different parts of the world, and hopefully other sports as well, where there continues to be a pay disparity?
Well, I'm sure it will. The other boards also will at some point, take these decisions. But I'm definitely quite happy with our board. They've really been doing some great work in taking up the cause of women's cricket, and probably this will be an example for many other boards to follow suit in the coming years.
And Methali, one final question: do you believe that this is the absolute height that Indian women's cricket has achieved in terms of the pay as well as the facilities that it actually enjoys compared to the time that you actually started out and through your career? Is this the best that we've got in terms of the kind of facilities and pay that has been extended to professional women's cricketers who represent India and also at the domestic level?
Yes, when we came under BCCI itself, the resources and the facilities definitely have vastly improved, and that we could see in terms of the performance or the players using those facilities to enhance their performance and get better. And in the recent past, we've seen that how the team also has been doing well in every big ICC event, which has helped to sort of develop women's cricket's own fan base, and the branding of the sport has also improved vastly along with the branding of the players. Yes. So I think all of this, and of course the support from the board has helped hugely in getting the sport where it is today. And as I said also that, we're getting into a new era, and I'm sure there's not many things happening for women's cricket.
Much appreciated, Methali. Thank you so much for speaking to us there. A legend of the game, talking to Times Now and expressing her view on the decision taken by the BCCI to bring in parity for men and women as far as pay is concerned in professional cricket.